Hello everybody and welcome to the final part of the story of Sonic and the Black Knight. Oh yes, we're here already. It's that short of a game, yeah. It's short, but it's longer than obviously that review of Sonic and the Black Knight I thought it was. But I quite like that the build-up to this finale is pretty well earned, I think, in the long run. So I'm quite happy with that. Now we only have a few missions left, and then it will be time for the final boss. But first we need to go through the Dragon's Lair, and this is going to require us to have to make use of a technique of Sonic's that you may not have realised he can do. If you are in the middle of a homing attack, and there are no enemies on screen, then you can press A and Sonic will basically fall to the ground like a lead balloon. Think of it like the heel stomp. I think I have mentioned this before, because I do seem to recall mentioning the heel stomp-esque move. I think it might have been during Crystal Cave, actually. But you're going to have to make use of it more here than you ever have done before, and in the next mission or so as well. Because you're going to be thrown on a lot of platforms that are going to crumble away beneath you, and if you're not careful then you are going to plummet to your doom. So just be careful. And we get to run on top of a Thunder Dragon, because yes, this is definitely physically possible somehow. I don't even know. You shouldn't be able to run on pure lightning. But then I suppose this is Sonic, and we've got a talking, fast-running hedgehog, been sent back to medieval times to face off against the Knights of the Round Table and wizards and Knights of the Underworld. So I suppose a Thunder Dragon's not really all that bad in the grand scheme of things. Now this particular bit can be frustrating because the Thunder Dragon will run out behind you, so making use of the Soul Surge to get across as soon as possible certainly helps. Also, this is frustrating. Damn enemies with shields! Stop doing this to me! And that was so close! Oh, I think I about had a heart attack. When, I started to fall off the edge and I pressed the A button and I just thought, oh god! And then I made it and I was just like, oh my god, there is a god. But either way, it's quite a fun mission, I have to say. It's just the slight frustration of the pits that you come across and the shield enemies flinging you off into those pits. That's where I have the problem with Dragon's Lair. But the mission's over and done with, so let's move on to something a little bit more interesting. And if I recall correctly, this next mission's going to be rather exciting, a little bit annoying if you aren't playing successfully, but yes, special challenge, Dragon Slayer. Because we haven't, well, we've only faced one dragon so far, and obviously we've been to the Crystal Cave, where townspeople were kidnapped by a dragon, and now we're in the Dragon's Lair, so I think we actually need to, kill the dragon. Which is going to be quite fun, if a little bit anticlimactic. But first we need to get to the damn dragon, and that caused me so much frustration when I was first playing Black Knight, because I kept falling into the pits during that sequence there, and it just broke my heart, because I was just like, oh my god, this is going to be like the most amazing mission ever, and just, no, it was a pain in the backside. Also, please do not remind me of the Bio-Lizard fight, Sonic. I hated that thing. It was absolutely bull. Just because it was so buggy. and it caused me to not beat Sonic Adventure 2 for the longest of times. I mean, I'm pretty sure I've spoken about my experience with Sonic quite a lot in the past, well, considering I've done quite a few Sonic playthroughs at this point, what with Generations, previous Black Knight, Unleashed, Colours, and so on and so forth. I think that might actually be it. But I have also spoken at length about the fact that didn't complete Sonic Adventure 2 for years, didn't beat Sonic Heroes for years, I didn't beat Secret Rings for years, actually. I'm pretty sure that the first Sonic game that I ever actually beat was Unleashed. And then it was this one. And then it was Colours and Generations and so on and so forth. And then eventually I went back and sorted out the ones that I'd gotten through but never actually quite beaten. Now, you may think that the way of beating the dragon is to get up all close and personal. No, you just end it quickly by destroying the pillar, and that is the way it dies, which is a bit disappointing, but I will live. The dragon is dead, and I never have to think about it ever again. And I believe that may be our last mission before the final boss. I might not be quite correct on that, but it's going to be close.
Now, Sonic! Here goes!
Oh no! The barrier is too weak!
Now's the time. Indeed. Here we go!
Oh, okay, now we've got one more mission that's unlocked in the Dragon's Lair, so we're going to do that, seeing as it is pretty much the only other thing that's unlocked. Maybe a little bit of an anticlimax to go on before we head into the final boss, but there we go. Now, this is a funny little mission, because you need to use the Will-o'-the-Wisps, which are the big blue orbs, and kick them into the Knights of the Underworld to defeat them. Now, the way you do that is by shaking the nunchuck, and it's something that you're going to have to learn to do quite effectively to do some of the other missions, because in some of them you'll have to kill will-o'-wisps, whatever you want to call them, and that is the only way of getting past them. Because if you run into them, they will hurt you, and that's no good. But yeah, getting through this mission's a little bit finicky, but they give you more than enough will-o'-the-wisps to defeat every single enemy, so you should be fine. Even if you miss a whole load, there's that many bloody enemies that if you don't defeat at least 12, then your timing is abysmal. I mean, my timing throughout that was abysmal, but even with it being abysmal, I still got through perfectly okay. And I still got 4 stars, so what do you want? But here we go, it's time to head in to the Dark Hollow and face down the Dark Queen. And oh, it's going to be wonderful. Now, I think if you move to like Cavalier style, it can be quite helpful in the final boss, but I ain't going to do that. we're just going to enjoy the wonderful cutscene that is here with the phenomenal track, which is Merlina, the Queen of the Underworld. It's just this entire sequence is phenomenal. Surprisingly well written, all things considered.
Will fail one way or another. Such is its fate.
Huh?
Do you know what is to become of this kingdom?
Beats me.
Lancelot and Gawain's rift shall doom the Round Table. Arthur is struck down by his son Mordred and departs for Avalon. This was to be our ideal world, but it will not last. King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table will end in ruin. The King Arthur my grandfather Merlin created led to nothing but mistakes. But I can succeed with the power of the scabbard, creating a kingdom that never ends.
What good is a world that goes on forever?
My sorrow at its ruin runs deeper than the depths of the underworld. Do you not understand?
No, and I don't want to.
Your efforts are futile.
No way. Sonic! Caliber!
You fool! Knight must always be on his guard.
No!
It is time to end this. Sir Sonic, you've done enough!
No, Sonic! There is no point in continuing! A knight never flees his foe, right? Ah! You fool! This no longer has anything to do with chivalry! Get out of there! Run! It was never about chivalry for me. I just gotta do what I've gotta do. That's all. Sonic!
The long-lost light of the sacred sword! Quick, your swords!
And now we get one of the most awesome Sonic transformations ever put to a video game. It's glorious.
That's the greatest of the sacred swords! Excalibur!
Ha! Let's do this!
And so, with Excalibur Sonic, it's time to take down the Dark Queen.
Not understand.
Music throughout this fight is the rather glorious With Me, sung by Emma Galot and Tina Karlsdotter from the band All Ends, written by Johnny Gioli from Crush 40, composed by Jun Sunoi, of course. And just this fight is glorious. Perhaps a little bit simple, but it's just really badass and a lot of fun, and I mean, I love this song, it's great. And what's really quite cool is that this is another fight that if you are particularly skillful with the art of the perfect hit, you can take it down in very few cycles. It's a bit more difficult to time your perfect slashes because it's more, you've got to do it instinctively, but it's very simple to pull off, and that is your way to get to the 5-star ranking in the end, because as normal, as long as you don't get hit, you're going to get 5 stars, so that's what we're gunning for. And I mean, another thing, I love the design of this thing. Like, I mean, it kind of comes out of nowhere, but just look at the damn thing. You've got magic circles, you've got these ribbons coming out everywhere. It kind of reminds me of Jubileus a little bit, which I think is probably part of the reason why I'm quite fond of this boss. But either way, we are nearly there. Just another set of perfect slashes, and I think this fight will be done. And it is. It's over, Merlina. And there we go, it's done. And now we get to watch the slightly cheesy ending, which means it's a wonderful little, I think the song called Denouement? Or something to that effect. It's the story's denouement anyway, so it's wonderful, it's rather cheesy, and bar one little detail in it, I'm quite happy with it. It makes me happy, so I will accept it. I mean, particularly because, I mean, this wonderful little piece of music that's going to lead into the credits theme.
Kind of sad, but that's why we gotta live life to the fullest in the time we have. At least, that's what I figure.
Grandfather.
Well done, Sir Sonic.
Thanks to you guys.
You can say that again.
To think King Arthur was but an illusion.
The Knights of the Round Table must now disband.
What foolishness is this?
I'll say.
What are you saying, then?
Have you forgotten who I am? I am the sacred sword Caliburn. I am the one who decides who is worthy of the crown.
So then, you? You are the one and true King Arthur?
Me? Huh? Hey, cut that out!
So yeah, Sonic was King Arthur all along, and that is how the game ends. Well, no. In all seriousness, I love the motivation that Merlina has, because it's all about wanting to make a kingdom eternal and whether that's right or not. And that's actually a surprisingly deep theme to be dealing with in a game like this. And then also the whole thing of just live life to the fullest whilst it's here, and that's the whole message behind this credit song, which is called Live Life, which is a wonderful rock ballad. It's one of the few slow songs that Crush 40 ever did, and it's wonderful. Now, a small little fun fact, which is quite fun for me anyway. In 2013, Crush 40 mentioned that they'd only performed Live Life once, and they found it to be a particularly emotional song to perform. what's quite fun about this is that who it's in reply to. So there was a person called, it's like Tails the Fox or whatever on Twitter, and they were just like, Live and Learn is just epic. Crush 40 replied to that. And then one Flaming Claw, who is part of Hellfire Commentaries, which I'm also part of, tweeted them saying, never turn back and live life are my favourite, great songs! To which Crush 40 made that statement that they'd only played it once. That was in 2013, I don't know whether they've played it since, but still. And yeah, it's a wonderful song to end off a wonderful game, and I think it's the perfect encapsulation of what this game was trying to convey in terms of its themes. Because it's all about living life to the fullest and making the most of things. Doesn't matter if things will one day come to an end, you just make the most of it, and that is wonderful. But this is the end of the playthrough, at least until the extras, where I'm going to cover every single other mission available to us, and all the stuff like the galleries and all that jazz. But this is my final time, I suppose, before most people decide to drop the playthrough, just to talk about my thoughts on Black Knight. It's got its flaws, it's a bit too brisk in its pacing, its gameplay can be a little bit laggy, a little bit frenetic, to the point where it can be a little bit of a pain to play. Some of its mission types are a little bit cruel in their level design, but there's a lot of thought gone into this, and for the most part it works really well. It's a fun game to play, despite a lot of its flaws. It's got very good presentational values, it looks great, it sounds great, both in terms of the music and in terms of the voice acting, and the fact that the motion controls are reasonably intuitive for the most part. It's a really good package, and if you actually go in and play all of the missions, then you've got a reasonable length of a game there. It's going to go from being a very short 2-3 hour experience to something that's at least 6, which is the general length of most AAA games, or at least it was at the time. They've kind of started to edge towards like the 8 hour mark now, I think is the average. But still, so it's a wonderful game, and I think it's a shame how poorly it is thought of in the Sonic fan base. Like, it's ridiculous, because it's actually one of the better Sonic titles. I mean, when you got things like Sonic 06, Secret Rings, Sonic Chronicles The Dark Brotherhood, Lost Worlds, Sonic Boom, and so on, the fact that Black Knight gets thought of in the same realm as those games is just ridiculous, because it's very evidently not in the same position. It's a decent game, it's flawed, but it's decent. And it just leaves me feeling really happy. And that is the message that I'm going to leave you all on, as the stinger is about to come into place. And it's a hilarious stinger, probably not necessary, but also it means that Sonic... well, one of the options that you can choose in a dialogue tree in Sonic Unleashed is canon, or at least was canon, and that just makes me very happy. So thank you all so much for watching my Sonic and the Black Knight playthrough. I hope you join me in the extras, and I hope you join me in the next playthrough. So I will see you all then.
What? All the action? All the excitement down to the wire? But man, would have thought I was the real King Arthur. Huh.
That's the lamest excuse ever! You just forgot about our date!
No, it's true, I tell ya! Yikes! No! Amy, wait! Put down that hammer!